When you look at 2017 and where the investment went in our industry, it was very squarely on automation and the technology that accelerates automation within our industry. So for example, we had firms that were automating the recurrent business question research projects, ad testing, concept testing, claims testing, pack testing. We automated those processes so we could deliver insights in days rather than weeks. That's a really good trend for our industry. And you saw some of the other firms begin to follow suit. So the big MR firms started to produce cut down versions of their flagship products to meet that business demand. We also saw small to mid-sized research firms begin to automate their sourcing of sample through companies like Lucid and Pure Spectrum and Sentient. That offered a competitive advantage because we had more control over the sampling process, and it significantly reduced the cost per complete, which allowed small to mid-sized firms to be more competitive on pricing and meet the demand of this quick turn, faster, more efficient, and hopefully more accurate delivery. But that's where the rub is. When we automate market research, we can't simply speed up the delivery of inaccurate insights. That's a fast track to irrelevance for us. And so when you think about that trend and compare it to the second trend that we saw in 2017, an increase in investment in behavioral science, it's the confluence of those two trends that really define the future of our industry. The increased investment in behavioral science meant firms and enterprises were investing in non-conscious measurement, the quantification of emotion, indirect measures like eye tracking and facial coding, because those methods offer more accurate insight into what people are going to do and why they're going to do it. Insights firms and insights divisions lost a lot of budget to behavioral analytics in 2017, and that's the trend. Behavioral analytics, we have a wealth of data on how people are actually behaving, and the current idea is that if you analyze behavior, you're going to get more accurate insights into what people will do. But behavioral data is necessarily backward-looking, and it also lacks the potential to provide you with deep whys behind that behavior, the explanation about why people are doing what they're doing. Fortunately, behavioral science solves both of those problems. In behavioral science, we have really accurate forecasting models about what people are going to do, not what they did in the past, but what they're going to do. And in addition to that, with behavioral science, we get much deeper insights into why they're going to do what they're going to do. If you have that information as an insights professional, you have a seat at the table. So when you think about those two trends, automation and advanced behavioral science for deeper insights, if you could bring those two trends together, you could define the future of our industry very accurately. And that's where 2018 is going to go. It's the automation of behavioral science. You know, it's funny. Years ago, I used to say the phrase quantifying emotion. We can now quantify emotion. And people looked at me like, that's an oxymoron. What do you mean? You can't quantify emotion, right? That used to be the realm of qualitative research. You could never put your arms around it. But the reality is, yes, you can quantify emotion. And if you do quantify emotion, you understand people more accurately. You can predict what they're going to do. I kind of get that same reaction when I talk about automating behavioral science. People say, you can't do that. Automate behavioral science, those two things are like the antithesis of each other. But that's not true either. We can automate behavioral science, and we are automating behavioral science. And when you automate behavioral science, you get the delivery of insights in days, but those insights are now accurate. And that's the future of market research. We're going to begin to see that trend in 2018.